Welcome to G-Man Gaming and Reviews. So today's going to be another Fallout 4 video, which is going to be a guide to perks. I'm not going to cover every single perk, but I'm going to try aim this for beginners, but it also is somewhat tailored to my own build. So we're going to start with some things that you should know about the perks when you're playing Fallout 4. Now, if you've come from the previous Fallout games, like Fallout 3 or specifically Fallout New Vegas, if you try to stat up the same way at the beginning, you're actually going to find it's not going to be that effective because the games are completely different in terms of skill systems, right? So there's a couple of things that you need to know in this game. So in other words, the perks that you can select are based off your stats. So the higher you have of one particular stat, the higher level perks you get access to. So we're going to start with some main perks that are useful all around. So the first one is the Armorer perk. The Armorer perk is very useful because it allows you to customize and enhance your armor. You also use this even if you're using a power armor build. In order to get in order to access the Armorer perk, you need to have at least three strength, right? Another useful one is if you're going for a melee build, if you get your rank up to strength, your strength up to strength 4, you can also get the Blacksmith perk, which allows you to add melee weapon mods, right? Now, going to the perception tree, if you have at least perception 4, it allows you to access the locksmith perk, which allows you to pick locks. I don't really recommend that. Now, for beginners, I'm not really going to talk about the endurance tree, but it's very useful if you're playing on survival. This game is a whole different beast in survival, so I won't go into that today. So really, you're not going to be putting too much into this unless you're playing survival or you just want to play a character who's good at surviving. One interesting perk is Aqua Boy, which it requires you to have an endurance of 5, but it means that you can breathe underwater and you no longer take radiation damage from swimming. This probably is very useful in Fallout London, because there's a lot of water in that game. So now we're going to move on to Charisma. Now, if you want to actually build settlements, which you actually probably should because they're a good source of income and resources, you'll need to start with your Charisma at 6. In order to get access to local leader. Once you get it to level 2, you can start to build stores and supply lines at level 1, which is very important, especially if you're playing on survival, because you're going to be using your settlements as like a hub where you look at what's going on around them, because I haven't played it myself. I think I've tried it once. But very handy especially if you're going for a power armor build, because you're going to need settlements in order to buy things. They're a great place to sell your excess junk that you get, your excess loot that you don't really want. And you get passive income from stores, so very, very useful. Also useful for buying fusion cores if you're going for a power armor build. Alright, so now we're going to talk about intelligence. Now, there's a couple of perks here that are really useful. If you are an absolute beginner and you are not very used to exploring, you might want to take rank in VATS, because it basically lets you it shows you the path to your closest quest target. If you get VATS up to level 2, you get 2 in perception, which is actually not a bad deal. Gun nut is if you are going for a gun build, which is what I normally do because I like to use silenced weapons. This is very vital if you're going for a gun build because it allows you to add attachments to your guns, and especially silencers, which are very, very useful if you want to go down a stealth route. Hacker is something that you can get at level... So gun nut is at level 3 intelligence. Hacker, you need to hack terminals. Scrapper is somewhat optional, but it allows you to salvage components by scrapping like weapons and armor. It's not really a perk that I use very often because I don't generally tend to scrap, but early on it's very useful. And then you've got rank in science. Now you need rank in science, which you need intelligence 6 to get, in order to use in order to modify energy-based weapons. You also need it with certain things like power armor mods. Now, if you are going to be using power armor, you're going to want to get your intelligence to level 9 in order to access the nuclear physics perk, because it drastically increases how long fusion cores last, which is very useful if you're going down a power armor route, right? Now we're going to talk about agility. Agility is if you want to create a character who's like a gunslinger, a quick shot. This is the agility and luck are where you put your points. So one of the important things is that at agility 3, you get access to the sneak skill. I love using sneak even in power armor, because it just means that I get the drop on enemies most of the time, which is very useful when you're playing, especially if you're playing in survival. But I love sneak. It's my go-to perk. I always play a sneak character even in power armor. Later on, when you get a power armor mod that allows you to have a permanent stealth field while you're in crouch and standing still, which is very useful. Now, if you're going down a sneak route or a melee route, and you want to be like a ninja, Agility 7 Ninja is actually pretty good. I normally get this perk later on because it improves your... So the advantage of sneak is that when you are in sneak and you attack an enemy, you do double damage, right, automatically, right? The ninja perk increases this, right? With ranged weapons at full perk, they do 3.5 times normal damage. And melee sneak attacks do 10 times normal damage, which is quite high. There's also this quick hands perk, which allows you to reload guns faster. Blitz for melee. Now, luck is not one thing that I tend to put a lot of skill points in early on. But some important perks for this is... If you're playing a low intelligence character, Idiot Savant is actually pretty good, because it basically gives you a chance to get 3 times random XP from any action. So it's a very, very good perk if you are using a low intelligence character. Grim Reaper Spin is actually really good, if you can get to luck 8, because anytime you kill an enemy in VATS, at full level, you have a 35% chance to restore all action points and refill your critical meter. Basically, it basically allows you to almost stay in VATS, especially if you combine it with perks from the agility tree. Where was it? With like quick hands as well. So you just stay in VATS and gunplay. Yeah, so... Like I said, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going for luck at the beginning, but the advantage of Fallout 4 is that, like, when you get high enough level, you can pretty much unlock most of these perks. There's no limit on your level, I don't think. But, yeah, so I thought these are the main perks that you're going to be using early on, or at least that I recommend at the beginning. If you are not going to be taking a companion, you want to take Lone Wanderer, because it increases your carry weight at Charisma 3, but also, now, when you have the Lone Wanderer perk, see where it says when adventuring without a companion, for the purposes of this perk, dog meat doesn't count as a companion. So because of that, you can actually use dog meat and have this perk take effect. So that was pretty much my guide to like the perks of Fallout. I was going to say Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. So I'd love to see comment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'd love to see comments on what are your favorite perks and why you disagree with me, why you agree with me. Remember, I didn't go through every single perk because there's so many builds in this game. It's absolutely insane. But I thought I would go through a general overview so that when you're first starting out, you sort of need to have an understanding of which are the really go-to perks that are really going to define your build. So for instance, if you're not going for a power armor build, there's no point in getting your intelligence up to 9 to get nuclear physicist, right? So yeah, so it's very, very useful. Alright, this was G-Man Gaming and Reviews signing off. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Alright, bye.